Fury, Chisora rumoured for December. No, Derek Chisora has had an approach from someone to do the Tyson Fury fight in December.
What's good, family? It's your man, no YB, back once again. So, we just heard there from Mr. Eddie Hearn leaking the information that Tyson Fury is fixing to fight Derek Delboy Chisora. Now, ain't gonna lie to you, there has been a lot of murmurings over the years that before Tyson Fury went off into the sunset, it's a bit like Deontay Wilder and Lewis Ortiz, yeah? Lewis Ortiz and Deontay Wilder have this almost special relationship. Both of their daughters have got disabilities, so Wilder kind of said, you know what, I'll fight Ortiz 5 or 6 times to put some bread in his pocket, yeah? Now, it's not exactly the same. Obviously, Derek Chisora and Tyson Fury, from as far as I'm aware, don't have disabled daughters, but still, it's that same kind of relationship. And in the past, Fury has said, boom, before I retire, I want to go in there with Delboy. I mean, let's be real now. It's not as if Fury wants to go in there with Delboy because there's some sort of question. The only reason he would want to do that, in my opinion, is number 1, to put some coin in Derek's pocket. And number 2, really, Chisora does bring out that kind of British, what's the word? You know what I mean? That British hype kind of thing. Jack the Lad kind of thing. Do you know what I'm saying? So maybe Fury thinks that fight will be, I mean, it was. Back in the day, back in early 2010s, Fury versus Chisora was one of the most entertaining rivalries. Was that the one they had the cage in? No, that was David Haye and Chisora. But either way, it was proper tumultuous, their relationship. I think at the time you had, well, of course you did, you had all the, well, at one point there was a big press conference and you had all the bare knuckle dons there. Fury had a whole bunch, about 100 man deep. Fury had 100 bare knuckle cats in the crowd, and Chisora was there. I think it may have even been in London. And basically Team Fury was mugging Chisora off, saying, listen Chisora, we're in your manor and we're about to turn you over in your own manner. And Chisora was like, I'm rolling 1 man deep. Yeah. Basically, Chisora didn't have no mans. It's one of them ones. And you got to be honest, when you think about it, have you ever seen Chisora with any man? I haven't. Fair play to him. I'm going to call a spade. He ain't one of them guys who seem to be, it's probably a good thing actually. On hindsight, I respect it. Too many guys these days have to have a whole bag of man around them, topping them off 24/7. Chisora really has been a bit of a lone ranger. So I salute that. Anyway, back to the actual fight. Chisora versus Fury. Now, you man know how I feel when it comes to finances. I'm tired of hearing about finances. Yeah, these fighters, from my point of view, as fans, we don't need to worry about their finances. They're doing just fine. Yeah, do you understand? So, great, yeah, Tyson Fury and Chisora can make some more random ass money. I ain't gonna lie to you. Fury versus, I mean, what's worse? Fury versus Chisora or Fury versus Bjornsson? Those are the 2 main runners right now. And to be honest, from what I'm hearing from someone close to Tyson Fury, they're telling me that essentially Fury is looking at the Chisora fight similar in the same light as the Bjornsson fight. Which really is, isn't it? Let's be real now. I think Tyson Fury deals with Derek Chisora as easily as 4. It's an exhibition. So Fury's weighing up now. Do I fight the big out-and-out weight pumper? Or do I fight Chisora, who has actually got a bit of boxing clout? Especially after his win over Pulev. What do I think? Listen, I mean, I'm actually surprised. You heard there from Eddie Hearn. I'm surprised, really, that Fury's even entertaining this at any level. But on hindsight, we know what boxing's like. Fury's probably thinking, I want to stay active. AJ and Usyk are fighting in August. They're not going to be ready for no other fight this side of 2022. So Fury fought in what, March? Was it March or April? Whenever it was, he'd want to stay active. He's in the gym 24/7, so he wants to keep the wheels moving. Then again, he says he's retired, so I ain't sure what he's really thinking, but logically, if he's not retired, does he really want to sit around? Realistically, yeah, any undisputed fight ain't going to be on until 2023. which could easily be March. So does Fury really want to be sitting around for a full year? Probably not. So he's looking for one of these random ass ones, like Chisora, like Thor, just to keep himself ticking over. However, it's a no-no for me. I've explained already about the whole Thor thing, but in terms of Chisora, these two fights don't do anything for anyone, and it's not acceptable for a belt holder. If Fury has no belts, and even if he has no belts, I believe he's carrying heavyweight boxing on his shoulders, and he needs to carry the gauntlet with respect. And for me, Fury versus Bjornsson and or Chisora is not even a little bit of respect. When you're the best guy, you must be fighting the best guys, or don't and sit down somewhere. But it is 2022, which means, YB, it's all about the bag. YB, I've seen Fury fans telling me, YB, Fury needs to look after his family, and he needs to make sure the money's still coming in. Are you guys joking? Fury's probably got 100 million he can touch. I bet he needs to keep putting food on. Honestly, I've heard people say, YB, don't talk about finances, because Fury just trying to put food on the table. YB, why are you trying to stop someone providing for their family? What the fuck? Get serious. These guys at that level ain't worrying about putting food on the table. Yeah, Fury doesn't need to fight for Bjornsson to put food on the table. And better yet, why can't he fight? I mean, let's not forget, he considers himself the best in the world, the best ever. Many of his fans consider him the best ever. If that's the case, fighting someone like Joe Joyce, that falls well within the remit of being the best ever. Are you the best ever or not? The best ever doesn't fight for Bjornsson at the peak of his career. The best ever doesn't fight Derek Chisora at the peak of his career. The best ever will fight Joe Joyce. Who else is there? I mean, that's the thing. It's not even that deep. Joe Joyce or maybe Dubois. But really, we know Joe Joyce handled Dubois. But even bearing in mind the whole Frank Warren link, we know Frank Warren loves to milk Daniel Dubois. So Dubois being the regular WBA champion, I can see, and let's not forget as well, the public love that whole thing, don't they? Dubois could be built as the new kind of AJ thing. The big bulbous neck. You know, one's there. He big and he bulbous. Yeah, let's get the, you know what I mean? The fans love that. The casual fans love that whole, you know what I'm saying? Big buff black dude versus, you know what I'm saying? Bottom line. It does something with the imagination. Facts. That's the ultimate challenge, isn't it? You got Fury on one side, and you got the big buff weight pumping dude. Who can win? Really, when you think about it, that's what it was all about back in the day, wasn't it? Fury versus AJ. How's it going to come out? Got the massive weight pumper versus Fury. So maybe Frank Warren trying to fix that one up. Yeah, we know Dubois isn't a huge name, but putting Dubois in with Fury, it gets all them boxes ticked. I can't lie to you. Dillian White versus Fury didn't really tick them boxes. It definitely didn't in the actual fight, but I'm talking about before the fight. Before the fight, Dillian doesn't have that AJ or Dubois look. He doesn't have that superhuman look. He has that soft, lazy, you know what I'm saying, burger having ass look. Ain't no one trying to see that. That didn't get the imagination going. People want to see, wow, he's super buff. Even though we know it don't mean nothing for boxing, that's what the casual fans want. That's what made AJ such a big star. Obviously wasn't his out and out skills. It was the whole weight pumper look. It does something to the imagination. People think, wow, look at that specimen. He must be a true beast. In reality, he's soft between the ears. But anyway, man, listen. I ain't gonna lie to you. Watching Fury fill in Daniel Dubois. Let's not forget, people, Daniel Dubois, he bowls over bums for fun. Whatever you say about it, Dubois is dangerous to some extent. Same as Joyce. And I'm going to be honest, if Fury goes in there and handles Dubois and Joyce as I'd expect him to, that's only adding to his actual true legacy. I think if Fury, not being funny in my opinion, I think Fury could deal with Joyce is too slow. So is Dubois, but Joyce is super slow. I think Fury can go in there with Joyce, yeah, and literally wipe the floor with him and not take no damage. Same as with Dubois, to be quite honest. So the question is, why isn't he doing that? I mean, I think he could go in there and 3 months later just clean up the whole lot of it. And after he's taken, let's be real now, after he's taken out Joyce or Dubois, or both of them, that literally, the whole division's done then, isn't it? After, and then all you have then is the AJ and Usyk thing. And bear in mind, Fury's got some momentum now in the UK, having sold out the stadium. Ain't gonna lie, I think that maybe not a stadium fight, or maybe a smaller stadium, 50,000. I think Fury versus Dubois or Joyce is gonna sell out 40, 50,000. Why not? Fury's good enough to do it. Or better yet, the opposition. I just don't think Joyce too slow. And we just saw what Fury does to slow people. Like Dillian White, way too slow. And it was genuinely, Dillian White didn't land one punch. And that's why I feel conflicted when it comes to Fury. After that kind of performance against Dillian White, why are we hearing about Chisora? Why are we hearing about Bjornsson? Why isn't he trying to proper lay out his legacy? If Fury, stops Dubois, I'm talking knocks him out cold, not stoppage. If Fury knocks out Joe Joyce, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Do I think Tyson Fury is top 3 all time at the moment? No. But if he, let's say Fury, knocks out Joe Joyce, knocks out Dubois, knocks out the winner of AJ and Usyk, I think there's an argument. You can maybe, well, certainly in terms of skills, you might be able to put him as top 1, top 2 all time in terms of beatability. If Fury knocks out all them 3 dudes, I don't think historically there'd be anyone to beat Fury at that point. Now though, what's he really got? Okay, he beat Wilder. Okay, Wilder's really unknown. Okay, he beat Dillian White, another guy unknown. What's Dillian White really ever done at the top all-time great level? Because usually how you compare all-time greats, or usually how you rank all-time greats, is what have they done to other greats? Do you understand? Now, it's not Fury's fault, but this era really has no greats in. And that's why it's so vital for Fury to mop up all the lower level bumps. Because if you don't do that, you can't make an argument for... If you're in an era, and there's 4 or 5 Hall of Famers, and you beat 4 of them, or you beat all of them, then you're the best of all time. But if today there is none. So these middle level guys, you must knock them all out. Well, you must at least go in there and beat them. If you don't do that, what are we going based on? Okay, a close win over Vlad. 1 win over Wilder, and 1 win over Dillian White. Come on now, we gotta be serious. You can't talk about all-time greatness with them with three wins like that. In my opinion, it just don't work like that. And it's really, Fury's 33 years old. The way some people carry on, even himself to some degree. Don't forget, people, he just had 3 years out. The guy had 2-3 years out. He's had a rest. It's not like his AJ. Whatever you say about AJ came in at 2012, and he's been doing 10 years straight through, back to back the whole way through. Fury had a break. Point. Well, you had a break. You came back, and even after having a break, he's essentially had more breaks as well, because he fought Wilder in February 2020, and didn't fight again until October the next year. So he took another 18-month break. You can't. I'm sorry, but it's one thing if you take breaks, and then come back and go on a run. Fury just took a break, and has had another break, a second break in his career, and just fought 2 fights, and now he's essentially calling it quits. Nah, that ain't all-time great quality, I'm afraid. All-time greatness, almost by definition, requires some level of longevity, and Fury unfortunately has proven that's where his all-time greatness goes down. He might have the skills, he might have the ability. What he has not demonstrated is the longevity, is the ability to repeat those kind of performances over time. We can all have a great win over Wilder and a great win over Dillian White and then call it quits. That's 2 fights. That's really, when you look at the UFC, for example. The UFC, when you talk about the greats, they've got 7, 8 back-to-back title defences. And that's in a sport where really it's a lot easier to lose. Because there's so many different skills, there's so many different ways a fight can go. And you're always fighting different opponents that can potentially exploit your weaknesses. So you might be fighting a wrestler one day. You might be fighting a BJJ guy. Do you know what I mean? There's so many different ways to lose. And they're all-time greats we can use as an example. 8 dudes. Consecutively back-to-back, and in the UFC 9 times out of 10, you are fighting the next best one. There's no champions in the UFC do you see fighting Thor Bjornsson or fighting Chisora. So we know the standard. The standard has been set for all-time greatness, and right now, Fury ain't ticking it. He can do, and that's what frustrates me. And that's why I can't support the behaviour right now. And especially when, fair enough, yeah, Fury came out and said, listen, I'm not interested in greatness. I'm just interested in milking coin and whatever. But he the one said he the greatest ever. Now, is that just bravado? Right now, unfortunately, yes. We cannot categorically say now he the greatest of all time. We can't even put him in top 5 in my opinion right now. Right now I'd put him between 5 and 10 based on skill. That top ticket is open. It's possible. Arguably. If he goes on and wipes up. Yeah? When I was growing up I was taught when you put a certain amount of tomato sauce on your plate, you must wipe it all up. Yeah, don't be leaving it. And right now, unfortunately, Tyson Fury has left a big blob of tomato sauce. He hasn't wiped it up yet. 100%.